In today's video, I want to share with all of you language learners out there some of my favorite motivational and inspirational quotes related to language learning. And if you don't see your favorite in this video, I want you to write it in the comments section below so that we can all share those great quotes that we know and we love, and we all can sort of come up together. Quote number one is one of the greatest, one of the most famous. If you speak to someone in a language they know, you speak to their head. If you speak to someone in their mother tongue, you speak to their heart. And the story that comes to mind when I think of this quote is how I lived for years in different places in China and primarily focused on learning Mandarin. But then I moved to Guangdong, where the native language of the people is Cantonese. And when I spoke Mandarin with people, they would be happy, they would be excited. But a common question they would ask me next is, you speak Mandarin really well, but can you speak Cantonese? And I would, I couldn't say more than a few words, but when I would try to speak a little bit in their mother tongue, then it was a whole nother level and they would just truly light up. So something special happens when you speak to someone in their mother tongue. They're going to feel like an instant rapport with you. They're going to feel like they're at home with you. Second, to have a second language is to have a second soul. Or to put it in another way, a person who speaks only one language is only one person. A person who speaks two languages is two people. So I think this idea points to the fact that when we learn foreign languages, we are able to inhabit other perspectives. We are able to put ourselves into other people's shoes all the more easily, all the more effectively. So you're going to feel like you're able to see events and issues that are happening in the world from other sides. And that's going to make you feel like you're able to lead and able to live different kinds of lives. And I think it's really sort of like a superpower. Quote number three, a foreign language is something worth learning, even poorly. A foreign language is something worth learning, even poorly. When I saw this quote online randomly, it brought me great inspiration for my own Mandarin learning, because I realized that there's so many excellent reasons to learn a foreign language which are not fluency, which are not becoming near native, which are not becoming C1 or C2 in your target language. If you know a foreign language to even a basic level, it could help you to make a friend. It could help you to find or to get or to do a job. It could help you to travel. It could expose you to a new word or a concept or an idea or a saying or a quote that doesn't exist in your mother tongue or in your native culture. And it could be something which totally changes your life, and it could be something that you want to deliver to your people, and you could translate for them, and you could change other people's lives. So maybe you need to reconnect yourself with some of the great reasons to learn language, even to a basic level or even to an intermediate level, and assess whether you are subconsciously holding this idea that for you, the most important goal or the only goal is to become fluent, which in a lot of respects can be somewhat unattainable for a lot of people and kind of an unrealistic goal. You're never going to be perfectly fluent. You're never going to be like a native speaker. So maybe you need a little bit of a wake-up call in that regard, and you need to reconnect to the reasons which are more attainable, but also in a lot of ways far more useful and far more better for you, far more applicable to your life. Quote number four, a person who knows no foreign languages does not know their own. Or to put it another way, to know one language, you have to know at least two. Now, this quote, I think, points to the fact that we can learn much more about that thing that we are learning when we are able to compare it to something else. And I think this doesn't only apply to foreign languages. I think it applies to just about anything. That's why our teachers back in our grade school days would always make those Venn diagrams and we had to compare and contrast. That helps you to go deeper. That helps you to look at things from different sides. Imagine if you had only eaten apples in your life, and then suddenly one day you're able to try bananas. Well, now you can compare those two things and you have a wider flavor profile and you have to learn different adjectives to be able to describe and distinguish these two things. So the same thing happens with languages. You're going to realize, oh, this is how the grammar works in this language, and this is how the grammar works. This is how the grammar works in my target language as opposed to my mother tongue. And once you realize that separation, that difference, that's going to help you to learn them both better. Or these are how the modal particles work in my target language. This is how they work in my mother tongue. This is how the tones work in my target language versus my mother tongue. And this is how people choose to express themselves on these sorts of topics. This is how they would say it as opposed to how I would say it. If we try to directly translate how we would say things in our native language, it doesn't usually work. We have to know the way that people would say things in the target language. Quote number 5. A foreign accent is a sign of bravery. A foreign accent is a sign of bravery. When I was younger, I probably would have been more inclined to make fun of the foreign students in my school who spoke English with an accent. But now that I've matured and now that I've been working through my own language learning struggles in my real life, because I've moved abroad and I live in China and I have to use Mandarin, nowadays I would be more inclined to realize that they are wearing a badge of honor. They are truly the brave ones. They are the men and women who are in the arena getting knocked down and getting bloodied and standing back up and continuing to fight. They are the ones who are leaving their discomfort zone to come over to my side of the pond, so to speak, to learn about my culture and my language, so they deserve all the praise. And insofar as I do not try to do the same, I deserve no praise. So if you ever feel down about how other people perceive you and you're worried that they may be making fun of you, you may be embarrassed or losing face, realize that no, you are the one who is wearing that badge of bravery. Okay, the next one, quote number 6. This is a bit of humor. I found it online. It comes from, actually I forget who this one comes from. I should look it up again. But anyway, life is a foreign language. Men mispronounce it. Okay, this one is just for fun. It has nothing to do with language learning, actually. But I just want to throw it in there for a bit of spice and a bit of humor. Life is a foreign language. Men mispronounce it. So this is a joke probably coming from a woman poking fun at men saying that they don't know how to live or they don't know how to do life. Quote number 7, and this will be the final quote in the video today. Remember to write me about your favorite quote in the comment section down below. Quote number 7 comes from Ralph Waldo Emerson. He was an American writer and philosopher. He wrote that language is a city, to the building of which every human brought a stone. Language is a city, to the building of which every human brought a stone. And I think that this quote reminds us that we are all contributors, we are all creators to language. And if language is like a city, if it's like something that we build, we all are builders. We all create. Language, I think, is so amazing because it's always growing. We are always shaping how it grows. New words are born every day, and some words die off. We don't use them as much anymore. Some languages die off, or some words may change in their meaning. So language is this thing that is very alive, and we all participate in that aliveness. And I have somewhat of a strange question to ask you, but I want to ask you, have you ever created a new word? Have you ever made up your own word? Maybe it's a word that only you know, or only some of your friends and family know. If you haven't, I want to recommend that you try it, because that's going to open up to you a new feeling about how language actually works. People make new words all the time, and some of them really catch fire. They go viral, and then they become a part of the actual language, the real lexicon. They get put into the dictionary. But there's plenty of new words that are coming out all the time that never become so popular and never get added to the dictionary. I just think it's really fun. And for myself, I think the most obvious way that this happens is if you're into creative writing. If you are into writing, if you are into poetry, I think that's a very easy way to experiment with that. And I think that could be very fun for you to do and put you in touch with languages in a new way. Maybe you can even make up some words in your target language, a place where you feel like a foreigner. Um, Maybe your experience with your native language brought inside of the target language, and mixing those two together, you can come up with some new words or some new concepts that your friends and family would really love. All right, that's it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed it. Good luck with your language learning in this week, and I'll see you back here next time.